This is BBC World News. I'm Geeta Gurumurthy with the top stories this hour. Supporters of India's BJP party are celebrating as early results suggest a landslide victory. Its leader Narendra Modi is expected to become India's new Prime Minister. We're expecting a news conference from the party shortly. The owner of the Turkish mine where at least 280 men died in an explosion and fire has denied negligence, defending its safety record.
Hello there, coming up in sport today with me, Nick Marshall-McCormack. In half an hour's time, Hamburg are on the edge of relegation from the Bundesliga. Also coming up, Bolivar reached the semi-finals of the Copa Libertadores for the first time since 1986. And Nadal and Djokovic both surrendered their first sets, but they recover at the Rome Masters to go through to the next round. That's all coming up in 30 minutes' time.
Well, the operators of a coal mine in Turkey, where there was a devastating explosion and fire on Tuesday, have been talking to the media for the first time. 284 people are now confirmed dead. It's thought another 18 are still trapped underground. A short while ago, the owner of the mine defended its safety record.
I'm going through the saddest days of my life. This is the biggest tragedy of my life. This mine had the most advanced mining safety procedures, and I was really very proud and happy with that up until now.
Well, the BBC's Rajesh Morshandani is in Soma with details on the latest developments.
No one has yet confirmed if there's the possibility of any more survivors. We've been piecing that information together, however. The Energy Minister earlier this morning sent out a tweet saying that 284 were confirmed dead and only 18 were unaccounted for, and he said, inshallah, we'll finish this with 302 dead, meaning the implication being that those 18 are dead. But despite being asked that, they haven't responded categorically to that question. There's also been a lot of confusion in the press conference about whether there were rescue chambers, operational rescue chambers in the mine. At the beginning of the press conference, the mine's owners said that there were 2, and then under later questioning, they admitted that one of those rescue chambers had actually been dismantled because they were going to move it somewhere else. And so actually, there may only have been 1 rescue chamber operational. They said, though, that the rescue chambers were such that you could get to the surface if you got to the rescue chamber, which means that there would be no one left in the rescue chamber. What we did learn, though, is that this incident took place extraordinarily quickly. We were told that within 3 to 5 minutes, the fire spread through certain areas and fumes filled up those areas, to the extent that even if there were rescue chambers operational, the miners may not have been able to get to the rescue chambers because they were overcome by fumes extraordinarily quickly.
Rajesh Morshandani there. In other news today, Bosnia and Serbia have declared a state of emergency after suffering their heaviest rains and floods since records began 120 years ago. At least 2 people have drowned in floodwaters, and overflowing rivers have cut off whole communities. Reports from Bangladesh say police have ruled out finding any more survivors after a ferry capsized and sank with at least 200 people on board. 28 people are known to have died and about 100 more are still missing. The double-decker ferry got caught in a storm on the River Meghna, not far from the Bangladeshi capital Dhaka. It's unclear whether the president of Nigeria will visit the town where more than 200 schoolgirls were kidnapped by militant Islamists. Goodluck Jonathan had been expected to make a visit and has been under pressure over his government's failure to rescue the girls. He will, however, travel to Paris later today to go to a summit on the Islamist group Boko Haram. More anti-China protests today. Filipinos and Vietnamese residents in the Philippine capital Manila staged a joint protest against China's incursions into South China Sea territories claimed by their countries. They chanted, "China, get out." It follows days of protests in Hanoi as well. Beijing has confirmed 2 Chinese citizens have been killed and more than 100 injured during the demonstrations in Vietnam. Emergency crews in California have been working through the night to contain a series of wildfires in the San Diego area. 1 person is feared dead and well over 100,000 people have been ordered to leave their homes. California has been experiencing its worst drought for decades, as Rikin Majitia reports.
An apocalyptic scene. 3 days on and swathes of Southern California are still being gorged on by wildfires. Over 10,000 acres now burnt to ashes. Everything from the local Legoland to a nuclear power plant has had to be evacuated. Residents have been urged to flee as fast as possible.
You have the evacuation order, evacuate. Do not wait. Heed the first responders that are out there. Make sure you get out, and you get out quickly.
With military equipment deployed, the fight back has come to resemble a war effort. But bone-dry conditions created by 3 years of drought and relentless winds from the Pacific mean that they are often left limping behind.
It was really quick. My husband just happened to be coming up the hill. My daughters were at school. He saw a very small fire starting, and he saw the smoke and called me on his way up and said, get the kids in the car.
It's a home that we didn't live in a few years ago. We don't live in now, so we'll a chance to have a new home.
Over 120,000 evacuation notices have been issued. Yet with what has now become